a rare Maddie appearance in the intro, Bottom Nation.
Hello, hello.
Say hello to Bottom Nation.
Hi, Bottom Nation.
Oh my God.
Let's go, dude.
I was really excited to do the intro because you were really excited about the guest.
I am really excited about the guest.
This week we had Gay Sex with Abigail Thorn, actor, creator of Philosophy Tube. Really fun episode.
Yeah, she's so cool.
She's really, really cool. We get into a lot of things.
We get into
covered so much.
Gender, philosophy.
No way.
British politics.
Yep. The red light district in Amsterdam.
Yes.
Yep. A lot of stuff. It's a great episode. We did a bonus episode with Abigail on our Patreon, patreon.com/WHGS. It pays Maddie, it pays Alex, and it's fun. It's just fun. And we had
Patreon's a great time.
Yeah,
Come hang out.
We had such a good story. We inducted it into the Hall of Fame.
We invented the Hall of Fame.
We invented the Hall of Fame. You really threw me off with that voice. Enjoy. Listeners, you know that my cats are part of the pod. They are so important to me, and that's why I feed them Smalls, my favorite cat food and their favorite cat food. And I know it sounds like I might be eating this cat food, and I could, because it's made with ingredients that you would find in your fridge. My cats are healthier, their fur is shinier, they're puking less. They absolutely love Smalls. So give your cat the gift of great cat food this holiday season. Head to smalls.com/gay and use promo code GAY at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code GAY for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code GAY for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Listener, this episode is brought to you by Helix, my absolute favorite mattress. I've been sleeping on my Helix for a few years now, and I'm getting the best sleep of my life. Specifically, it has really helped me with my back pain. And right now, you can get 20% off and 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. You just got to go to helixsleep.com/gaysex. One more time, that's helixsleep.com/gaysex for 20% off plus 2 free pillows.
I had a bit of a fucking crisis a couple of years ago. I went on a date with a guy. We end up having amazing sex. It's really good. And so I'm having a fucking crisis, being like, this is so nice. It feels so right. Like, am I straight? Like, what's going on? Like, I've hardly been with any guys before, but this is just like really different. I really love it. It's so nice. It feels so great. Maybe I'm straight. Maybe that's what's going on. 6 months later, they come out. Now a woman. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That yeah, okay. I was having sex with you from the future. It was like.
All right, cool. Well, we have to jump right back in, but let me just say who's here so the listener at home knows. But we have Abigail Thorn, actor, content creator, just on House of the Dragon, just on Star Wars The Acolyte, and obviously very well known for her philosophy takes on Philosophy Tube. Thank you for being here. We're having gay sex with Abigail Thorn, and I'm so excited to be having gay sex with you.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Maddie is busting right now, so do you need to say
wow,
anything?
we've only just started having gay sex and you're already busting?
This is really embarrassing. This like never happens, but okay, well, I'm like freaking out because literally on the way over here to like prep for this, I was watching Michael Stevens, like Vsauce's video on ontology, the Do Chairs Exist? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm already gone. Yeah. And I would like to say I minored in philosophy in college. I majored in computer science. So I got the logic up here. I can fucking sort through shit.
I minored in Tumblr and I majored in YouTubers. So I was on YouTube pretty heavy in this shit. No, but when I was watching that, I don't know, this was maybe like a few years ago, and I had this like weird it like broke my brain because when he was talking about like, you know, there aren't chairs, there are just like atoms arranged chair-wise being like a school of thought. And I was like, oh, that like explains to me how I think about gender, where I'm like, if you think of it in this prescriptive, like there's only these strict categories that are like, whatever, in America, probably like from the Bible, where you're like, there's this, like you're saying there's like this noun, and I'm like, I don't think there's really nouns. I think there's just verbs, and that makes the fuzzy edges of it make a lot more sense.
We moved from ontology into Wittgenstein, I think, pretty quickly there. That definitely went into language.
See, this is where my YouTube degree is falling apart a little bit, is because I was like, it's like a thing. I'm going to feel very dumb on this episode, and I know that going in.
I actually think you're much smarter and better than I am. I just taken two or three classes on it, which definitely, but anyway. The point is that Maddie is so excited.
Very excited.
And we're both excited. We're really excited to have you. But you said something, I mean, not really philosophy or acting related at all. But we were talking that the UK doesn't have free speech protections.
No, we don't have a First Amendment the way that you do. So we were talking about this before we rolled up. So listeners, you might be able to hear from my dulcet tones that I am, to my shame, English. But we were just talking about like differences, and I think I'm excited to get into this too, because there's a lot of like big differences between like American queer stuff and British queer stuff as well. But yeah, we don't have free speech laws. It's like you can just be. There's a bunch of shit that you can say that I can't say.
I think a lot of times, as queer Americans, you know, we're a little bit spoiled. There are plenty of countries that have it way worse than we do. We have some bad shit going on for sure, but I don't think, you know, we're not the best at knowing what's going on in other countries, Americans. So like when we find out that the UK or parts of Northern Europe are transphobic, I'm always like, what? Like you guys have free healthcare. I thought you were nice. You know, you're.
No,
I thought we were the dumber version of you.
Yeah,
how could we possibly?
Yeah, you have prison reform. You're not supposed to be racist, but then you go there and
have that.
Well, no. I'm talking about like Norway or whatever. Yeah. But when I went to the UK and I was touring, I met a lot of trans people who taught me about what was going on there. It is so transphobic in the UK. It is crazy transphobic. And it seems like it's all J.K. Rowling. It really seems like it's 100% J.K. Rowling's fault. And then I found out that you can't say that.
That's an opinion that you have. I can't comment on that opinion either way. Because, if I were to say that opinion, which to be clear, I'm not, but if I were to say that, then she could sue me. And an American could cite free speech laws and say, like, is it First Amendment, right?
Yeah,
you could cite the First Amendment as a legal defense. We do not have that. So here's an example I use when explaining this to Americans, is that when King Charles III was crowned, there's a group in the UK called Republic who believe that we should not have a royal family. And Republic are like pretty tame. They're like, older people. They're not like, disrupting stuff in the streets. They're not like a big protest movement. It's like quite civilized people who go on the news and be like, well, actually, I think we shouldn't have a king. And they were going to have a little polite protest with their placards. It's very kind of lib. And they were going to have a little protest like several blocks away on the day of the coronation. The moment they got off the bus, they were arrested and held without charge in prison cells and then let go without charge. And people were just like, you can't, they didn't even protest. They were going to protest in a way that was critical of the royal family. And for this, they were arrested. And because we do not have free speech laws in this country, there are certain things that you simply cannot say legally. And furthermore, because Britain is a very small country and our media and entertainment system is run by about 100 people who all went to the same university and all know each other, there's plenty of things that you legally can say, but which would end your career if you did. It's not like the US where, like, if you fuck up in New York, you can move to Chicago, you can move to LA. If you're on the shit list in this country, you're done.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
I also, I wonder if that's why British people are just so damn polite compared to Americans. Has the First Amendment made us dumb and loud?
Honestly, maybe. That's hilarious.
It's because we're so damn free. Fuck you, J.K. Rowling. But my pronouns are free dumb.
Do you think there's any trickle down of because what's interesting is then in America, a lot of legitimate hate speech that's not even actually covered under the First Amendment, people try to be like, oh no, it's the First Amendment. Do you think there's any, not saying it's good, but is there any like weird trickle down silver lining of like that clamps down on hate speech in some ways because people know they could like get sued for it?
I think that works pretty well in Germany. They have some stuff like that in Germany where they're like really
Like you
can't heil in Germany, or
You
I
can't
think
fly a
Europe.
swastika. Yeah.
No. I mean, you literally cannot heil. I learned that because I was imitating a Nazi on stage and I heiled, and everyone was like, "Whoa!" in a way that
that's a crime. Yeah,
I committed all of this is alleged.
That'd be so funny.
I just want to let everyone know that.
And if allegedly you did that, it would be very funny if you, as a Jewish person, did that in Germany and they were like, well, the punishment is we're sending you to a camp.
Well, there are Jewish people in Germany right now who are being locked up for criticizing the Israeli government.
Really?
Kind of. Not
yeah,
a million.
because in Germany,
Germany is like seriously clamping down on pro-Palestine protests in a very scary
because
way.
they made a huge mistake. So they're trying to. It's very funny. The whole thing's honestly so funny.
If they wanted to write it, then they should just Germany should be Israel.
Maybe let's not get into this.
Incredible
I
solution.
think somebody might have had that take, but okay, yeah.
No, if that's originally yours, please run with that.
It sounds too familiar, but I don't know.
Like, point being that when it comes to like queer stuff, I mean, a lot of the transphobia in the UK, we rely on American journalists to report it because our media either won't because they're disinclined to, because our media, there's like 100 people who run our media are also like extremely fucking transphobic, but also because there's a lot of stuff that they probably should say but can't because they just get sued into oblivion. So we rely on American journalists like Erin Reed to report what's going on here.
It's so funny because I sometimes rely on like the BBC to look at American news because it feels less biased than our like highly polarized news sources. Like election stuff, I was like going to the BBC. Also because like I was like realizing that I'm dumb and I need a news source that explains America to me like I don't know how America works. So like I'd reading the BBC and they'd be like, so America has an electoral college. And I'd be like, right, I remember that.
My Mac, the co-host on the other pod, is from Missouri. I don't know if you know what Missouri is, Abigail. Don't worry about it. But I was having to explain the entire election system to her
hilarious.
all night long, and I was just like, "This is so sad." Love you, Mac. You're the best. Shit. What was I gonna say? Oh, do you think that makes it harder for comedians too? I imagine it must be scary to do comedy.
Again, the way that you get into a career in comedy here is you go to Cambridge and then you have a career in our media. If you want to have
that happens here too. That happens here too. You go to Harvard and you work for the Lampoon.
Yeah. So if you're the sort of person who like has the money to go to Cambridge, you're probably disinclined to be particularly anti-establishment in the first place. Again, like a lot of this is self-selecting. So like it's not like there's a law that says you can't criticize the royal family on the BBC. You can, but you are not going to be the sort of person who gets that job if you're inclined to be doing that. So, yeah.
Does the free speech stuff usually come down to an individual can sue you and you have no protection, or the government can clamp down, or both?
It's a little bit of both. Mainly like individuals can sue you, and also because of the way our legal system is set up, if a rich person sues you and you win, you may still end up bankrupt because of legal fees. It's not like in the US where like loser pays everything. So there's a bunch of stuff that you could say like that I can't.
Wow.
That's just so interesting. I will say in the US you can sue for slander.
Yeah, but there are certain, isn't there something about like if it's not slander if it's true, basically?
Right. Yeah.
Like if you can point to like that you're just saying something that exists in public.
Yeah.
Then you can't be sued. But if they can prove that it's like an egregious lie, then they can't sue you.
Yeah.
Like you can't just say whatever, but it's like, I don't think it's something that as evidenced by our country's behavior. It's not something that looms over Americans' heads.
No. We sue for so many things. So many things. But we don't tend to do that. We don't tend to sue on a freedom of speech level. That's
interesting.
That's interesting. That's something
the
we
right wing
value.
the right-wing press like really hangs over us a lot in the UK, especially I think about this a lot as a queer person, like every time I go out, because there's a trans woman who I used to know, who went out in a pub one night like a couple of years ago, and she went into the ladies' room and the dryer was broken. She came out of the stall, there was another woman in there, and they were like, this dryer's broken, what are you going to do? She said, I'll just dry my hands on my jeans, and then left. A couple of days later, turns out that woman who was in the loo with her was a Tory councillor and wrote an article in the Daily Mail saying that she was threatened in the ladies' room by this trans woman who said, I'll dry my hands on my penis, as a threat. Now, whether she really misheard it or merely pretended to, that was then in a national newspaper. That Tory councillor then wrote an open letter to the then Women and Equalities government minister saying that trans people should be banned from public spaces. That minister is now the leader of the Conservative Party and supports that policy. So every time I go out to like a club, to a pub, every time I'm in a public space, I'm fucking watching my P's and Q's. Because I know that if I make a fucking wrong move, that's a headline, and that headline could hurt all of us.
Yeah, no, it's true. How do you dry your hands on a penis?
I don't know.
Like that would be. I'm sorry. That would be the first thing.
Yeah,
that I just don't think that there's enough surface area. And then if there's any cum at the end, my hands are wet again. So I'm washing my hands a second time.
Not believable.
I just don't
I'm
buy
gonna
it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that can fucking happen. And that's partly why I find it really fucking hard to date. Because if I go to a club and I hit on someone and they're not into it, that might not just be like, an awkward encounter, like I hit on someone and they were like, no, I'm good actually. I don't know who that person is. That could be a fucking headline. So
yeah, I mean, I experienced this in a small way as a person who mostly through social media, I'm constantly thinking about what someone might go and write on Reddit or write on TikTok about tiny little interactions that I have.
Yeah.
It's privacy and freedom of speech is like super, super important. And I think because like, I don't know if you feel this way, but Maddie's really young, tiny little tight pussy, just super perky tits. I'm so sorry. I'd never spoken about
You were like,
this,
how
but
could anything I say ever get misconstrued? I'm constantly worried that people are going to take things out of context. The context was how perky your tits are, Maddie.
Sue me, Maddie. Go and take me to court. I will fight for this one. It was a compliment.
No, I loved it. It was actually awesome. Thank you. What were you saying?
Yeah, like prove the truth of the libel. Just be like, oh no, they are. Like prove it in court. Like,
show them your tits,
That's
Maddie.
so funny.
yeah. May it please the court. Exhibits double D. And then
it does please the court for sure.
Listener, Fulton got sick recently, and I freaked out because he and my other cat, Fletcher, are like part of my family. I know that you love your cat that much too, and that's why you should feed them Smalls. I feed my cat Smalls, and I absolutely love it. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. It's so convenient, but I also love how good it is for them. Cats.com actually named Smalls their best overall cat food. And I've been finding my cat's fur is softer and shinier, they puke less, and they're just a lot healthier. And don't just take my word for it. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a big deal. And if you've got a picky cat, Smalls has a sampler, so your cat can try everything that Smalls has to offer and pick their favorite. So give your cat the gift of great cat food this holiday season. Head to smalls.com/gay and use promo code GAY at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code GAY for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code GAY for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Listener, I've been doing this pod a while. I know what stresses you out, and sometimes that's clothing, especially underwear. That's why I'm so excited to be sponsored by Tomboy X. It's premium underwear for progressive people. And let me tell you this, I love the underwear. I find it incredibly comfortable, incredibly breathable, but I also love that it's queer-founded, queer run, and queer designed. Tomboy X creates sustainable, size and gender inclusive underwear, swimwear, you know we need that, and loungewear for all bodies to help customers feel comfortable in their own skin. That's all day comfort for everybody. They have sizes that run from extra small through 6X. They've been in business for over 10 years, so they know a thing or two about making the perfect pair of underwear. And don't just take it from me. Here are some quotes from some queer folks who love Tomboy X. The holy grail of underwear. Tomboy X briefs are without a doubt the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn. And I also think that they are so comfy. And did you know that their bras are all wireless? Wireless bras? The future, the technology. Use code GAY20 for 20% off your first purchase only at tomboyx.com. One more time, that's GAY20 for 20% off your first purchase only at tomboyx.com.
Okay, I kind of have two stories in my little story notebook. I'm going to let you guys kind of choose based on like a topic. One topic is hair, and then the other topic I went to Amsterdam and I went to the red light district.
I vote red light district.
I vote red light district too. In that case,
it definitely has a better pitch.
Yeah,
we'll see. So I can't believe I haven't told this, but I went on tour in Europe. I sold it out. And one of the places that I went was, thank you, appreciate that, was Amsterdam. Amsterdam probably is my favorite city in the world. I'm just going to put that out. I don't know. Have you been?
But all my American friends who've been say it rules.
It is just lovely.
I really want to go.
Oh my God, you have to go. You have to go. I'm an incredibly sex positive person, so I wanted to see the red light district. It's one of those things where you're like, go off, girlies. Yes. Like, get your bag. And then you get into that environment and you're like, maybe get your bag separately from me because I'm having trouble being here. That's how I feel in like a strip club. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love it in philosophy. But in praxis,
praxis would be like getting them healthcare or something.
Yeah. So
I've only been to a strip club once, and that was for a date. So I have like a weird, like a weird kind
with
of
a stripper
like,
or with someone else.
Yeah.
You just both went to a strip club.
Oh wow!
I was going on a date with a stripper because we were supposed to have like cocktails, and she's like, "I'm really sorry, I'd like someone else dropped out. I've got to perform tonight, but if you want, I can get you in." And so I was like, yeah, okay.
On call like surgeons?
yeah. There's an emergency. There's a stripping emergency. So yeah, I went to this strip club with her, and there was this amazing.
This guy is gonna die if he doesn't get hard.
There was this amazing moment.
He's having a heart attack, and I have to.
He needs a blood transfusion from his brain to his dick.
His dick right now. So a couple of people came up to me, and they were hitting on me. And they were just like, oh, like, how you doing? How's it going? I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm actually here on a date. And they said, oh, how's the date going? And I just pointed to the stage as my date's panties like came off over her ankles and just went, it's going pretty good, actually. And they were just like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's so funny. And they walked away and they were like, yeah, we all think the strippers are in love with us. Like, no, it's a real date. I swear to God.
But then afterwards she like came up to me and we were chatting and like kissed and stuff. And they were just like, oh, it's for real? Shit, okay. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, I felt very cool.
That's awesome.
I get very anxious in that environment. I don't know what it is. It's not judgment. It's just pure anxiety. I just can't.
My favorite is my friend when we were he was like 18 and he went to a strip club for the first time. It was Kenyon, my buddy Kenyon, who is a comic. He was wearing they made him wear a neon green, like highlighter, bright yellow green t-shirt to show that he wasn't 21. So he just had to sit in the strip club in that. And then the stripper came up to him and was like dancing with him or like on him, whatever. And he was like trying to talk to her about like Bernie Sanders in the Iowa caucus. And it made me laugh so hard. I think that's kind of who I would be in a strip club too.
Yeah, that's who I am. And so walking through the red light district, it was certainly like I wanted to be there. I wanted to see it. I wanted to learn, but I was like a little anxious. I was with Jen, which made me feel a lot better.
To learn.
Mm-hmm.
Can you fuck the fuck off?
I
This
I
is an
believe it.
experience.
It's an educational, yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase. I wanted to get content for this podcast. So I'm walking through the red light district.
Mm-hmm.
Always in the back of my mind when it comes to sexual experiences.
ABC, baby, always be content.
Exactly. So we went to one that, what did we do? We went into the place where you stand and it's sort of in the center of this kind of big machine. It almost looks like a carnival ride. There's a bed that rotates and there's like a girl like dancing in the middle of this like bed and she's rolling around and she's stripping. And then we're all on the outside watching, but we're watching from individual pods that the window opens up.
Oh,
So you can see into this machine basically that's, moving the bed. And after a
What
minute,
if the
you have to put
panopticon,
in...
but the guard was just smoking?
I didn't get the reference, Maddie. You have to de-nerd that for me.
The panopticon,
Philosophy. The circular
where you're
prison.
like and there's like a guard in the middle. So like even if the guard isn't looking at you, the guard always could be looking at you. So the prisoners start to monitor themselves.
It's Jeremy
Okay, I have
Bentham.
to
Don't
look
worry
that
about
one
it.
That was bars, dude. That was
A
bars.
sort of
That was
Zoe
so
trope
funny.
of pussy was occurring along you were on the outside. A kind of centrifuge of snatch was occurring.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
I gotta say, I was struggling. I was especially struggling seeing the windows from across the way open up, and then I got to watch guys watch her.
And jerk off, or they're just watching.
No, we're all just watching. I mean, maybe they're jerking off. It's not
But
a great
it's not-
place.
that's not what it's for. It's not like a private.
no,
to do that.
It would
Okay.
be really rude to jerk off in there.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of most places. Yeah.
Yeah. It would just be rude.
It's
It's
rude.
frowned upon.
So,
In Europe.
I think anywhere, honestly. I think it's a cleanliness issue. You're only in there for a minute.
Really?
Being like, you can't jerk off in the streets in Britain? What is there no free speech anymore? Oh, sorry, you guys don't like freedom.
Yeah, so we're watching and I'm not really having the best time, but I'm like, I'm interested. I'm keeping an open mind about everything. And I respect the girl. The girl is a fucking master at knowing. She's got the clock on every window, I'm assuming, knowing when they're going to open up and when they're going to close. She is moving her body so that you are putting in more coins to see things.
Wow.
It's really quite impressive. Very impressive. I don't know if they get more coins from there because they let you know. They let you know who's going into the middle. So I guess in theory you could, but the line is long. So I don't know how much if they get their own individual profits. But we start walking around again. I'm like, I think I've had enough. And also, we're walking by individual places where girls are like in the windows, kind of being like, "Come in, I'll give you a dance" or whatever. And they're advertising their individual services. It's packed, and I kind of dip into a like a little doorway because I need to. My body hurt. I have chronic pain, so my body's hurting. So I kind of dip in, and I'm leaning. And for a moment, I lean, and then I feel this fucking horse whip. Horse, what do they call it? Like it's a whip, but it's not the long.
You mean a riding crop?
Fringy riding crop. Thank you.
Did you have to pay extra for that, or?
I get riding cropped on the fucking shoulder a couple times. She's like, "Get out of here. You're blocking the door." And then I turned around and she goes, "Oh," she has this accent. She goes, "Oh, you're a woman. Sorry." And that to me was sort of the highlight of the whole thing. It was just so funny to me that these women are so they are so primed to hate men and everything that they do that before she knew all she saw was my backwards hat. And she fucking came over there.
And she was like, "You're ruining my life." And she's like, "Oh, sorry, sorry."
Yeah, exactly. And whipped me on the fucking shoulder. And I gotta say, it hurt. I did not enjoy the experience. But as soon as she found out I was a woman, She was very apologetic.
Was that affirming to you, both the thinking that you were a man and then realizing that you were a woman? Like, I feel like you
Not
would enjoy
in the way it would be for you.
Were you just like, could you do that again?
No, I mean, like, I get misgendered in like a weird way. I've never talked about this on the podcast really, but I get misgendered in a weird way frequently, which is like, if they can only see a certain part of I'm tall enough that I could be a short man, and my voice is low enough that, my voice is low enough that I could be just a guy talking femme.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny. You have like a gender mullet.
I have a gender mullet.
Woman in the front, man in the back. Business in the front, party in the back.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I am a gender mullet. And
that's so funny.
This one didn't bother me. Okay. It is something I'm sensitive about from when I was a kid, but I've kind of let it go because I love my voice so much now that it doesn't bother me so much.
I've had a weird journey with my voice too that I'm still on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear more about
that.
But
similarly, I'm just relating to, I'm not changing the subject, I'm just relating to like low voice is an interesting, I don't know. I just felt the same thing.
I think
guys fucking tell me about it.
Love it.
My
For a second, I was
trick.
like, Alex, when did you get sexy?
No, that's just my little party trick.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay, that was a blind spot. My bad.
Now listen,
that was so
I'm not
sick.
gonna do it because I find it so embarrassing when I do it, but I can get real low too.
Uh-huh.
No, everyone on this podcast knows the lore of my Elvis impression, and it will not be done today. But I have a killer Elvis impression.
This is news to me.
But I'm sensitive about it, but I'm more sensitive about it when queer people purposefully think, oh, I should use they, them, like, oh, maybe I'll call her daddy. I don't like that. When someone accidentally misgenders me, I'm like, whatever, gender is a spectrum. Lots of women have low voices. Mm-hmm. I'm wearing a backwards hat. That was an accident.
Mm.
But when someone purposefully thinks my masculinity is more than just like a fashion.
Yeah, like won't let you just be the thing that you actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find it that I get it way more from the queer community than I get it from anyone else.
That's very interesting.
Anyway, so
because they're
the
like
point
aware
is,
of there being options, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah. But even though they're aware of options, I just find that my femme friends don't get they them'd the way that I get they them'd.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess
funny.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny because I sometimes get they them and I don't like it. I don't like it when people do that. Sometimes people call me they them either because they think that's somehow more inclusive, or because because like they them is the silencer on the he him gun, and like that happens a lot in Britain specifically. Is they're like, this person, they said this, and I'm like, it's she. I went through a lot of like unbelievable amounts of bullshit to get that. I wear it like a fucking badge of honor. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think, like, I don't know, I guess there's some pride in, like, gosh, at the risk of, I don't know, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but, like,
no, go for it.
I love being a lesbian. Like, I love, like, I love that this is a form of woman, like.
I've had friends too. I have a friend who I was talking to we were talking about gender, and like I was trying to figure out what kind of journey that I'm still on of like what parts of what I'm feeling are like non-binary identity and what parts are just maybe the kind of woman that I am. And she was saying that she had gone through a thing of being like thinking that she was non-binary and then realizing that she felt more like tomboy, but that it was important to her that she was a woman in this way. Like it wasn't just, I don't know, those can get kind of flattened into the same thing. And I think the internal experience of those is like very different.
I've just always been like growing up. And my mom, my mom is cis, my sister is cis, but all three of us are kind of like tomboy-ish. Honestly, especially my mom. My mom wore a pantsuit to her wedding. Like my mom, yeah, like she's like, and she got married 1,000,000 years ago. So
Wait, that's sick.
yeah, I've never expressed that, but my mom is like really into sports. Like one of her dreams was to be a gym teacher. That never became actualized. She's at the gym. She's ripped. My mother is fucking ripped.
I
She's
didn't
like,
know any of this.
oh my God.
That's
Dude,
crazy.
my mom could beat the shit out of anyone in this room, including Alex. Like Alex, I would not. She like boxes.
Wow.
Like she's quite. I don't think of her as masculine, but those things I think could be construed as masculine. And for me, like this is just a great, I don't know. I've always just been like, I'm very proud. I'm a feminist. I'm proud of who I am. And I don't see why this is antithetical to being a woman.
Yeah, there's something about when people assume that it is masculinity, it's like very telling about what they see a woman as.
Yeah.
And if you're like, interesting, my ambition or my strength are the things that disqualify me from womanhood.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
For me, it's my backwards hat. I'm pretty sure it's 99% my backwards
That's
hat.
hilarious.
I truly think if I took the hat off, people would stop doing it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is a weird thing because I think it can almost sound turfy, which I don't mean it to sound. Like I think.
Oh fuck! Do I need to add asterisk? Did that we? Okay.
No.
No.
I think you're good.
I think when you hear a lesbian, when you hear like a masculine woman talk about her love of like being a woman, for some reason,
it's like when a white person talks about how they love America. I'm like, I don't think that's what you really mean.
Yeah.
It's like that should be fine, but it always means something else.
Right,
but
right.
sometimes it doesn't. But it's very
But
rare.
if you hear a feminine woman be like, I love being a woman, you're like, go off, girl. Yes. But like when I say it, it like,
That's
it's
so funny.
fun.
Listener, I'm feeling good. I'm on vacation, but I miss my bed. I miss my Helix mattress. I love coming home to my Helix because I know I'm going to get a great night of sleep. Specifically, it has really helped me with my back pain. I remember my last mattress, which was the first mattress that I bought out of college. I went cheap, and oh boy, did I regret it. When I started sleeping on my Helix, my sleep improved so much. I had less back pain. I felt more energized in the morning, and that's because I took their 2-minute quiz at helixsleep.com/gaysex, and I got the perfect mattress for me. And right now, Helix is offering 20% off plus 2 free pillows with all mattress orders. One more time, that's 20% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. So head on over to helixsleep.com/gaysex for that great offer. You will not regret it. It is worth it. Go, 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 listener. One last time, that's helixsleep.com/gaysex.
I'm totally with you, though. I'm completely with you. I feel the same way because, like, a couple of years ago, I was like going up for roles and I just like wasn't getting cast and stuff, and I was losing roles to like very femme trans actors who are like models and stuff. And I went through this phase of being like, shit, like I didn't go to modeling school. I started out doing sword fighting in Shakespeare. Like I'm 6'1", and I was like, fuck, I'm never gonna get cast in this shit. And then House of the Dragon came along, and all of a sudden I'm in this casting of like action tran. And now I'm really enjoying like leaning into like got my hair cut short and like I'm working out like 6 times a week now. And like, you know, going up for action roles and shit. And I love it. It's great.
What's your sex? Like, are you a lesbian? Or are you bisexual? What do you?
I'm
who do you
bisexual, which means I am attracted to every woman and about 5 men, 3 of whom are just about to become women. So actually,
you took the words out of my mouth. You took the words and the last dick ever out of my mouth.
Well, not necessarily the last dick, because I will say, like, so some women have fucking amazing dicks, but like it's happened to me that like I had a bit of a fucking crisis a couple of years ago because I went on a date with someone, and I will use the pronouns and gendered words that are funniest in this story, even though not strictly accurate. I went on a date with a guy, And we went out for dinner, and he was very smooth, very slick, very charming, had all kinds of good lines. You know, there was a cheese on the menu that he had the same name as the cheese. And he was like, well, you got to try a slice of me. And I got some, and he's like, how do I taste? And I'm like, you're very smooth. Like, only problem is I kind of want some more. So, you know, we go back to mine, and he's like, you're a hard woman to get to know, Abigail. And I'm like, well, how well can you get to know me from over there? And like, we end up having fucking amazing sex. It's really good. At the end of it, she's like, I'm going to hold you now. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay. And so I'm falling asleep in this guy's arms, having a fucking crisis, being like, this is so nice. It feels so right. Like, am I straight? Like, what's going on? Like, I've hardly been with any guys before, but this is just like really different. I really love it. It's so nice. It feels so great. Maybe I'm straight. Maybe that's what's going on. 6 months later, they come out. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, now a woman. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That, yeah, okay. I was having sex with you from the future. It was like fucking time travel shit was happening. Like, which you'd think so I'd see it coming because I've been on the other side of that before. When I was in the closet, I had like 3 girlfriends break up with me by announcing they were lesbians and were like, something about you is different. Like, but yeah, I've got to end it. I was just like, oh my God, it happened to me.
That's so funny.
It was trans lesbian sex, kind of like the movie Tenet, and that it goes on for hours. Normies find it confusing. Somebody's inverted. Like, it's.
You guys would be best friends.
Someone like kind of looks like Robert Pattinson.
I like don't even know the movie. I you guys need to be
hit
together.
Me so hard that like all of this is tickling the back of my brain. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like so. It's so funny because like in a non-sexual way, a lot of friends I had from high school, we were like, I don't know, we just got along, and then we link up years later, and we're like, everyone is queer, and usually in my circles, it's been like. Everyone's queer, but like a lot of gender stuff too. Yeah. That we were like, oh, we were on the same wavelength in a way that we like didn't know.
I do think it's interesting because Hollywood is always whenever Hollywood casts some kind of minority, it's through the lens of what the industry believes that minority should be. And I think with trans people right now, especially trans women, it's like model hot, very femme, the most expensive woman on the planet, kind of like kind of deal. Like
I would imagine too. Like I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, so like correct me anyone if I'm wrong. But like I would imagine the thing that cis women feel of like you have to perform femininity just to still be seen as a woman is 1,000-fold for trans women. Yeah. Like I imagine it'd be incredibly hard to be a trans woman who's like, I feel like a tomboy, and it's like. Right. But are people gonna still understand that I'm, you know what I mean?
That's what I was trying
100%. To. It's always fucking going through my head.
I think the ultimate sort of, not ultimate, I don't want to say, but I think a really cool thing in the trans journey, watching some of my friends and just meeting lots of people at shows is, knowing that you can be a tomboyish or a more masculine woman, and that's not got anything to do with how you started or your body or whatever. I have a very viral clip where I turned to, I did not know that she was trans, but I turned to this woman and I was like, you're like a masculine. You're like a Harley, right? You're masculine. Would you consider yourself masculine? And she so quickly goes, well, I've been trying to get away from that. Oh, and I was like, but the thing is, while I felt bad about it, I was like, no.
Did she think it was funny?
Yes,
like
of
in the
course,
end,
of course. Yeah. What I was trying to say was, dude, I thought you were just a cis. Like I thought you were a cis. Like that's what do you know what I mean? She like,
Did you call her dude as well?
I have to watch the video, but
I'm loading the cancel gun.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I loaded it on myself.
And then turn the cancellation on herself.
I apologized, and my shtick on stage is when I've made a huge mistake, I wrap the mic cord around my neck, and I offered her to kick the stool. So we did the full thing, but she came to another show. She's totally fine. She's actually a patron, and she's lovely. So thank you for being a patron. Oh man. But I do think like that, I don't hear that about that a lot in the trans community, that type of woman, you know?
Well, it's interesting from the other side where like I remember being a kid and trying to figure out, like, I don't feel like a boy, like a man, but I didn't have any of the language. So I was Googling like boy, like I was like Googling like trans guy, but long hair ? Like I was like really trying to find like almost the inverse of what you're talking about is I was like, oh, even when I feel like days that I want to present more masculine, I've never wanted to be like a Channing Tatum lumberjack. Like that doesn't resonate at all. But there is like a boyish, like kind of masculinity. I don't know. I still kind of struggle with the language of it, but it is like a very interesting thing to be like, I guess, wow, this sounds stupid now that I'm saying it, but non-binary in a non-binary way. Like
definitely sounds stupid.
But this is why I love Sharako as a character. Listeners, if you don't know, I play Sharako Lohar, the queen of the pirates on House of the Dragon. This is why I fucking love her, because the part was just written for a cis woman, and what they said was, we just want a woman over 6 foot. And because the producers are American, they didn't think about like cis or trans, because Americans, you don't give a shit about that. Over here in Britain, that's a fucking fucking meeting of all the executive producers. That's a fucking crisis to cast a trans person. But the Americans just like, oh yeah, like you were just the best on the day. Like we don't care, you can have the role. So I did it, and like
this is amazing to hear.
She's canonically like gay. Oh yeah, she's canonically like fucking trying to fuck everything. She's got like multiple wives, maybe, or maybe she's just fucking with the guy that she's talking to, and like. I fucking loved it. Like I finally found my niche in the industry for now, like my way in is like playing these just like action women. Maybe Sharako's cis and maybe she's not. Like who gives a shit? I mean, I know the answer to that because we decided it behind the scenes, but the show hasn't specified. But like maybe she is, maybe she isn't. But that's why I fucking love the role, because I was like, oh, finally a role for a trans femme actor that isn't this like, not to knock India and Hunter and Hari and everybody, that isn't that kind of like you have to be a model to get into it, you know?
Well, I think it's sort of that thing where, aside from acting, like even just transitioning and deciding, like, after all of that, I'm going to lean into my masculinity because I love that about me.
Yeah. That's the most baller shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so stronger now than I have ever been.
That's sick.
That's so sick.
I can like lift more now than I could when I was running testosterone. And it's like so much fucking more difficult to put muscle on this way. But like it's much more rewarding. Yeah. It's fun.
Oh, can I? Okay, well, that
jump
gave me
in,
a
jump
thought.
in.
How do I want to phrase this? I don't know. I'm okay. So like, we never really did official intros, but I'm like kind of on a still unfolding. Like, I was using they them pronouns when I was like 15, and then I kind of started stand up comedy, and I gave up trying to explain it to like the 40-year-old men I was doing open mics with. So I was like, whatever, she, her, and for myself too. I was kind of like, whatever. That was probably a phase, and then it came back big, and I was like, nope. Whoa, at least cool. She, they, like, I'm just kind of still, I'm very much trying to figure it out. But what we were saying about like being like, I'm still going to embrace my masculinity is I was like, there was a weird thing where like, I actually feel like in the times when I've been really like in acceptance of like non-binary parts of myself, I guess, in some ways it becomes easier to embrace very like feminine parts of myself because it doesn't feel like this false, like when they're not under the banner of woman, which is a thing I don't always feel like, when they're more just under the banner of like almost like drag or almost like just like a fun thing I could do that day, it feels like much more authentic. So like in a weird way, coming all the way back around and starting from a blank slate, like helped me not only like embrace masculine parts of myself, but like feminine parts of myself. But it's one of those things like explaining to a boomer, they're like, so you're less of a girl, but you're more of a girl. It's like, whatever, dude. Yeah, I'm wearing a skirt, but it's like in a different way, whatever. But like, I don't know. I feel like that's a very real thing is like the kind of Rube Goldberg way back around to seeing something in a completely different context. Uh-huh. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no,
totally.
It does.
That's just how I feel about the gym.
It feels like your brain is inside out, woman.
I'm definitely like, okay, I don't know. What if I figured it out in this moment, what I am? I don't really know. But this is kind of why this is one of the reasons I was so excited to have this conversation is because when we've talked about like philosophy and like ontology and my like very layman, like not academic proper understanding of it, it like is such a helpful way to like look at gender for me, because I'm like, I'm gonna fail to articulate this also because I'm nervous, and y'all both know like real philosophy in a way that I don't.
Oh, I don't, Maddie.
Okay, but you do.
Probably no less than you think.
But I just like, how do I want to phrase this? Like, it is interesting to me to think of gender as like a day-to-day, like just thing that's happening, and not like a thing that I am.
Yeah.
And like watching literally like Michael Stevens' Vsauce video about chairs, I was like, I'm the chair. I'm not a chair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a thing that
Yes,
you do.
no, yeah, it's
A thing that you do, and like a social relation between you and other people that you have some control over, but not total. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that became freeing for me, because it's like I feel a little bit less of like, what am I, and more just like, what do I want to do? Seems like a more important question.
Hell,
you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And what do I want to do based on how I feel? But like, yeah, almost in like the way when you meditate, you're like, oh, you observe thoughts instead of like identifying with them.
Definitely.
Like that is like a very interesting way for me to be like, okay, if the only reason I'm asking the question of gender for myself, I'm not projecting this onto other people, but for myself, like if the only reason I'm asking myself the question of what gender am I is because I want to know how I want to give myself permission to move through the world, then I can take out the first question and just move through the world that way.
Yeah.
And not rack my brain about what it means. Does that make any sense?
Definitely. And politically, that's a really interesting place to come at it from, because if you think of what do I want to do today, then that necessarily prompts you to the question, like, what am I allowed to do? And if there's something I want to do that I'm not allowed to do, who says? Why? Who's telling me that I am like essentially this thing and must only do this? What if I want to do something different? What the fuck sort of government or doctor or parent or God has the right to tell me that I can't do it? Like you open up a whole fucking world of political intrigue there.
Yeah. But then also it's like, and then it feels like, well, I am afforded, let's say, okay, if I'm gonna default onto what I'm told I am, if I'm the parameters of how I'm allowed to behave or expected to behave in like cis woman, it's like, okay, if I feel things that are outside of or don't feel things that are within that, instead of just, I to myself can, afford myself a different kind of like social, social parameters, but other people don't get it until you give that a new name. And I'm like, I don't need the new name. I kind of am okay with having it be this fuzzy day-to-day experiential thing, but I know you won't let me shed those old parameters unless I give you new parameters. So now I'm kind of coming up with a name for other people, and I'm realizing more and more that like naming it is less a utility to myself, and it's more a function of like getting other people to leave me alone a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
so what was the riff?
Well, let me just say, I agree with everything you guys have just said. And I think having heard it this way for the past 10 minutes, sounds like you're. Okay. Well, this is just, I don't know why I can't have, like, as a podcaster, I can't have this conversation unfold without a riff. I don't know why. I'm just I'm so sick in the head in that way. No, it's sort of like I have this bit where I talk about how I'm good at breaking up fights with men because I'm androgynous enough that they don't know whether or not they can hit me. They're like, does she want to be hit so that she can feel a part of this?
That's so funny.
Or is she a woman and we don't hit her?
The ally who validates you with violence. That's so good.
Yeah,
That's such a good bit.
But like,
that was like the first like gender thing as a kid. Was whenever we'd be in the classroom and they'd be like, we need to pick something heavy up, so all the boys come over and help us pick it up, and I'd be like,
right,
and me,
right,
and me maybe,
and playing with the blocks kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and maybe me when the boys come over and help us pick it up. Was that in high school?
No, it's like as young as like elementary school.
Then you.
I know. Every time I'm like, well,
That's
but
so-
you know, maybe I'm overthinking it and blah, blah, blah. I say something where I go, oh, that's in every TikTok I've ever seen about it. Okay, oops, all right. We'll go
Why
back to
would
the
they
drawing
even
board.
care about boys versus girls in elementary school? You guys are the same. It's the same.
You-
Picking something up.
You did not grow up in North Carolina.
That is crazy.
yeah.
I remember something about my high school experience the other day, which is that so my high school was in quotes all boys, also like me as a kind of double agent. And then we kind of officially went co-ed whilst I was there. And so this like handful of girls came in. And then you got to choose your PE option. You could either choose soccer or hockey. And like all the boys chose soccer and all the girls and me chose hockey. And at the time, everyone,
field hockey?
yeah, field hockey, yeah. At the time, everyone was just like, why are you choosing this dead name? Like, does this? Why are you doing? Are you like trying to get pussy or something? Like, what are you trying to do? And I was just like, no, I just feel like I kind of should be over there with them. Actually, you guys go have fun. I really like soccer. I'm gonna go play field hockey with the girls. And that's what's so wild about all this like shit about trans women in sports at the moment, because they fucking kicked my ass. I fucking suck at field hockey. Like, I like wasn't faster. I wasn't stronger. I was not a better player. I was terrible at fucking field hockey, but I felt like I was in the right place.
Well, I feel like did you have something that you wanted to share today? Did you have gay sex this week, Maddie?
No, I just had a lot of philosophy gender questions.
I know, and I thought they were very apt
Yes.
and really vulnerable and a long-winded way to say that you were genderqueer, which I respect.
It literally is so funny because like every time I'm like, yeah, like I said, every time that I like get so frustrated that I almost give up and I'm like, maybe I'm overthinking the whole thing and my gender is whatever. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. And then I'll go on the Wikipedia page for genderqueer celebrities and I'll want to cry because I feel so seen. And then I'm like,
Who's
okay,
on the list?
it's a great list. Anyway, no, I did not have gay sex this week. I just went on the Wikipedia page for genderqueer celebrities.
There's a weird thing about being a somewhat recognizable trans person, because I get a lot of people who are either just out or just about to come out, who like come up and like meet me and stuff, and they like tell me their like innermost gender feelings, because what they want is for me to be like, you're in. Just be like, welcome to the team, right? Or to just like give them the magic thing that does it for them. There's like a particular look in the eyes of somebody who like comes up to me at a live event and like it's like, you want permission to transition, and I'm like, I can't give that to you, but like,
Oh, I
Yeah, it's
never
fun.
thought about it that way. But
oh yeah, that's
my
like a lot.
videos where I point at someone and call them gay, even though they insist they're not, tend to do really well. And I wonder if that's a
hilarious.
part of it.
Does that upset you at all? And like, you're like, oh, this is this fucked up tokenizing thing, or you're just like, oh, sweet baby, you haven't given yourself permission yet.
Neither really. I mean, it just doesn't upset me at all. I just sort of see it as part of my job, really, because there's no way to say this without being like sounding massively conceited, but like I've been in the kind of public eye to a growing degree for like almost a decade now. So I'm kind of just getting used to it at this point. I'm used to the fact that there's certain things I can't do, like we were saying earlier on, but there's also a lot of like beautiful moments I get to have when people come up to me and they're like, you know, I was inspired by you, or like even if it's just like, I really enjoyed you in this, you know, movie or TV show or whatever. That's really nice. So it's just kind of part of my life. There's some things I can't do as a result. So like, dating is really hard. I've been banned from OkCupid and Field for impersonating Abigail Thorn.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god!
Just send them your like driver's license. They'll fix it for you.
I know, that's embarrassing, dog. Like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. That's so embarrassing. So it makes dating very hard, but like, I don't know. It's just part of the job now, I guess. It's a beautiful job to get to have.
Alex pulled up the list for us.
Yeah, they cast a pretty broad net on like it's also sometimes it's even like celebrities that in an interview have been like, I wear big t-shirts sometimes. Like, so the list is pretty wide, but like there's like some very cool, like, okay, kind of on this track of like what I was talking about.
Miley Cyrus is on there.
Miley Cyrus has said publicly
I love queer
gender
people
fluid.
because if you fucking clip your nails that day and appear in a video, all of a sudden the lesbians are cut. They want to claim you.
There was some interview where Miley was talking about like being like gender fluid, I think.
Miley is definitely genderqueer.
Yeah.
Definitely
But it's like
genderqueer.
Oh, but the thing I was gonna say about this, this is kind of this can be my thing, is that the confluence of what we were talking about of like genderqueer celebrities and that being like a comforting thing, and also people that I grew up with in high school and just got along with for some reason and we didn't know what it was, and then later on realizing they're queer. There were a lot of YouTubers that I grew up watching who then later came out as queer, and I was like, oh, I watched you for 30 hours a fucking day, even though that's not possible. And you were queer or genderqueer, or like, I mean, I, when I was in middle school, showed my hairdresser a picture of Daniel Howell and was like, I want this haircut. Like,
Dan's a sweetheart. Dan's really cool. He's a sweetheart.
I love Dan. And like, Charlotte from the channel So Cool, like I was like watching her forever when I was younger. Like interestingly, a lot of queer British YouTubers specifically that I've been watching forever. Like, so I don't know. I feel like that was like weirdly
you
like
come out as British.
I'm like, that's what it was.
That's what the B in LGBT stands for. It's just British.
That's so funny. Actually, a lot of non-binary fashion does feel very just like British school child.
Yep. Honestly, it does.
That's so funny.
That's really on the nose.
That's so funny.
Well, Abigail, thank you so much for your time. Are you working on anything that you want to plug?
I don't think anything I can tell you about yet.
Ooh,
but I tell you what, I just have a gay vampire movie just came out. You can see that, Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend. If you want to see me, as a sort of horrible vampire who sexualizes her trauma, Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend, you can find that on Nebula. I wrote it too.
All right, cool. And I can assure you that people listening to this podcast definitely would like to sexualize their trauma.
Yeah. If you Google Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend, you'll find it. Yeah, in fact, the tagline of the movie is "Bit people, bite people." Yeah, I was really proud of that one. It's like I took the rest of the day off after that.
That is so good.
Like so funny.
No, that's so good. That's so good. Well, thank you so much. We Maddie, anything you want to butt plug?
You can find my podcast Phones in the Bag, and I'm on the road on Punch Up Live, Maddie WIENER on Punch Up Live. All of it is in my Instagram bio at Maddie T WIENER. But come see a live show. I'm doing stand-up.
I don't know when this will be out. My tour dates will probably be announced, but I have a massive amount of tour dates coming out, you guys. Western Canada tour, North Carolina. Gosh, where am I going? Dallas, Bloomington, Indiana. Please come to that one. That one's triggering. Let's see. So many. If you guys, I'm meeting a lot of podcast people that are not on the text alert, which is breaking my heart because they're missing shows. So I don't spam. I won't bother you. I built it myself. Just get a text from me when I'm in your city. Sign up. Please, please, please. It really helps. And then as always, patreon.com/WHGS to support this podcast. And to get some bonus time with Abigail and bonus episodes. You were amazing. Like,
thanks
you're
so
a great podcaster. Have you had a podcast?
Yeah, I'm on the podcast Kill James Bond, where me and two trans people talk about movies to do with masculinity.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not plug that.
Yeah, it's one of it blew up during the pandemic. We're like one of the biggest film podcasts in the UK now.
Wow. I'm so sorry that I didn't know that.
No, it's all right. Also, like I've got time if you want to.
Well, we do a bonus episode.
Yeah, sure. I'm down. Like I've got nothing else on today, so.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. So listener, go to patreon.com/WHGS so you can get a bonus episode with Abigail.
I'm so excited.
I knew you two would be. Thank you guys for listening. Patreon.com/WHGS to get that full bonus episode with Abigail and the story that we inducted into the Hall of Fame. Gay Thought this week. Alex has something for us. Oh, Alex on the couch.
Alex on the couch. Alex on the couch. Alex on the couch. Alex on the couch.
We're so good at that.
We're really in sync.
I had to analyze my biases recently.
A gay thought from a man in Mountain Dew socks.
What the? You got your sock in my face.
It's not in your face. It's
Is
on my
this
leg.
comfortable for you?
Well, get over it.
As I order your smoothie.
Do you want me to tell a gay thought or not?
Yeah, well, I'm ordering you a smoothie, so that's pretty fucking gay.
Yeah.
It would be so funny if
We
you
have a
just said
very
the F
gay
word right
communist-
now. Here's what I think about gay people.
But I had to analyze my biases recently. During Halloween, when I was out and about, my girlfriend was dressed as a sexy Jessica Rabbit. And when we were out and about, two men on this
disrespectful, but
two
kind of
men,
nice.
two men on the street. They, as we walked by, they went, "Jessica Rabbit, let me see those tits." And I had a real bigoted thought. I thought, oh, they must be gay. When I really should have thought, they better be gay.
Yeah, that was really good. Good one, Alex. Very good. He's gone. He's not even taking notes on the joke.
No, it was a mic drop.
Oh, he dropped the mic. Good work, Alex. I also like that you called it sexy Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
So sexy Jessica
As
Rabbit.
opposed to the normal occupation of Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do you do for a living? I'm Jessica Rabbit. Like the voiceover for Jessica Rabbit. I hate when people dress up as Jessica Rabbit and they don't call it sexy Jessica Rabbit because my job is serious.
Sexy Jessica Rabbit is jacked. We find out Alex is gay. Yeah, no, that's like a super sexy Jessica Rabbit. Wearing an orange
Jessica
orange
Rabbit
construction
would be
vest.
sick. I should do a Jack Jessica Rabbit one
Wait,
one year. Yeah.
All right. Any thoughts? Gay? Or
No
otherwise?
thoughts. Smooth brain. Absolutely vibing.
Listener, underwear can be a big deal if you're queer. And that's why I love Tomboy X. It's premium underwear for progressive people. It's queer founded, queer run, and queer designed, and you're going to feel it. I love how gender inclusive they are, but I also love that it's the most comfortable underwear that I've ever worn. And right now you can use code GAY20 for 20% off your first purchase only at tomboyx.com. One more time, that's GAY20 for 20% off your first purchase only at tomboyx.com.